Hi there, my name is Amanda Frankel and I'm with Our Crafty Playdate. I am going to be making this card for you today. I have seen a lot of cards made with this image, and it is just such a great stamp set, and I've got a lot going on here and we'll talk about it as we go. But I think you're really going to love this stamp set. So let's get started. I'll play with it a little bit and then I can talk about it as I'm stamping. I am going to start by bringing in my Stampin' Pierce mat. Because these stamps in this case are photopolymer, which is the clear mount like this, I am going to put a mat under it because it gives it the extra cushion. If you don't know why, please watch some of my other videos also. This is the Painted Harvest stamp set, and this is really a sunflower, so it looks great in the golds and yellows, but I tell you, I have seen it in blue, I've seen it in purple, and it looks like a mum. It's gorgeous. Okay, anyway, so I brought that in, and now I'm going to bring in my paper. I'm doing that because my pattern is going to actually go off the edge of my white here, and I don't want to get it all over my Stampin' Pierce mat because then I will just transfer it to my card. We've all done that before. Okay, so we are going to start here with a piece of Whisper White, and this Whisper White is 3 3/4 by 4. It sounds like a little bit of an odd measurement. It's not perfectly square, so when you go to stamp it, just be careful. And if you are going to make a bunch of these, which would just be a great idea, right? You could make a bunch of these, wrap them together, make thank you cards, bundle them up, hostess gift, done. If you're going to do that, though, when you are going to cut this piece here, go ahead and cut it out of a 12 by 12. Because you know me, I love to do things with no waste, and that gives you very, very little waste, and you get a lot out of it. So do that for sure. All right, so let's go ahead and stamp. I have already Versamarked these stamps, although they're already really super stained because I've been using them for classes all the time, and I was not super diligent about Versamarking them before I got started. But we are going to use Cajun Craze today. And the stamps have two different images. They have a more solid image. I've been playing with them today, so don't be freaked out by how stained they are. They're really just colored right now. They are more solid, and then there's the more detailed. The more solid is the one that I always do first. It's up to you what you prefer, but I always do the more solid first. And I'm going to stamp off with that. So I'm going to ink it. I'm going to stamp. And then I'm going to stamp here. I am not stressing myself out over where I'm placing the stamps, as you can see. I'm just doing it. I'm just doing it. This is actually a super fun card to make while you're not doing anything else, you know, while you're just hanging out watching TV or something, because you don't have to be very precise. And not precise is my middle name. All right, so this is the more detailed one, and look, you can actually see how detailed it is when I put it down in the ink pad. Well, maybe you can't, but I can. All right, so it's more detailed. I'm not going to stamp off first. I inked it, and I'm just going to go straight on. The one reason that the Versamark works really well on your stamps before you start stamping initially is so that you can see through them, and it makes it a little harder if you don't Versamark, because I want to kind of match up that hole. It doesn't have to be perfect. As you can see, it's not, but it's good. It does not have to be perfect, but if you can kind of line it up, it does help a little bit. And don't worry if it's not, though, okay? Seriously, you can see I'm not stressing myself. Okay, the good thing about these blocks is they don't break very easily. All right, anyway, so let's move on. That is the Cajun Craze. Now we are going to do some chocolate chip centers. The centers here, I'm using chocolate chip. I love this color. It's a little more rich. The Early Espresso is a great color, but it's really almost black. This one is more, as we would say, chocolatey. I am going to stamp off before I use it. And then I'm going to stamp right over the center. It does leave a hole. That's okay. It's supposed to. It's supposed to. I'm going to stamp off again and rotate it and stamp again. I just want to fill that gap a little bit. It's okay if it's not completely solid. You see I have some white space. I am good with that. You can see I'm one-handing it. So this obviously is not killing me here. Ooh, almost forgot to stamp off. Almost forgot to stamp off. Okay. Where are my reminder, folks? All right, so there you go. There are my flowers. And that was very easy. You can see that you can do that in a blink of an eye. And now I am using Always Artichoke for my leaves. My leaves, it's funny, I always go to Garden Green, but I do love Always Artichoke too. It's more of a dusty color. The leaves that I'm using are from the same set here. They're the Painted Harvest. Did I show you the stamp set? I don't know if I did. Okay, so it's Painted Harvest, and then there's the more solid image and then the detailed image. More solid, detailed, more solid, detailed. So it depends on what you want to do. This is the more solid leaf, and this is the more detailed. And I can do them both on the same page. Again, I have been using these today, so they're a little inky. They're not Versamarked right now, which I probably could have done. All right, so I probably would have stamped off on that. Okay, that one's going to be a little darker, folks. I'm going to stamp off this time on the more solid one. I'm going to rotate that a little bit, and then I'm going to stamp it. And then again, I am going to stamp off because this is the solid one. And then I'm going to stamp it here. Good. And now I'm not going to stamp off because it didn't there anyway. And I'm just going to kind of line it. Oh gosh, I keep getting ink all over my block today. Probably because I'm doing everything one-handed. I don't know why. Just for fun, I guess. Just as a new challenge, added challenge. All right. So I'm lining it up and I'm going to stamp down, straight on or straight on-ish. Straight on-ish. Good. Let's see. Ooh, that one's good. Of course, the one that it's not going to show very much because I stamped straight on. All right, and now this one. Good. When I did my leaves, I was not trying to make them look like they were attached to the flowers. Sometimes you can do, you know, a flower on a stem. That's not what I was going for here. You can get this stamp set in a bundle right now with this leaf punch, and it makes this beautiful leaf shape. It's fabulous, but we're not using a leaf today, so we don't mind so much about that. Okay, so now we have got this done, except this really super cool feature that we're going to do right now. All right, see this gold speckle? I like to say speckle. Okay, you could use a stamp like this and stamp all over here with Versamark, and then gold ink powder and heat emboss it if you have a lot of free time. I never have a lot of free time because I have count them, 4 children. So what I'm going to do is I am going to use a gold Wink of Stella. Now, we do not carry this anymore at Stampin' Up. I'm sorry to be using it. We do have clear, which is also very special, and you can use it really well for the Christmas type things to do this exact same technique. So I want to show you the technique. So I just took the lid off. I'm not squeezing it. I am just going to whack my finger with it in here. Like this. You want to make sure that you move everything else out of the way, because trust me, you're going to get it all covered with spatter. You can also put it in a spritzer. You can put some ink in a spritzer and do that. That works too. I got lots of speckles here. That's okay. I actually really like them. All right, so you can see that I have some speckle. See that? And now I'm going to set that aside for right now because it does take that a few minutes to dry. And I'm going to magically, I'm magically going to leave this here just like it was. All right, now I'm going to continue on and do some of these other things. I need to stamp this sentiment, and then I need to add some of these trims, and then I'll be ready to glue. All right, so stamping the sentiment, I'm going to move this for just a second. This is the same stamp set. Okay, so this is an all one deal schmeal. We are using chocolate chip again. And again, you would Versamark first. Don't know if I did that, so I'm gonna. Not that it's gonna matter at this point because I used it, like I said, in a class, and I really got it super inky. All right, I'm going to just stamp here. 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna lift. Perfect. I love this font. Isn't that just super fancy? I love it. Just like my handwriting. No joking. All right. Now I'm going to just slide my punch over it here and punch it out. It's interesting because I really could punch one of these out and then stamp it because I'm using the photopolymer, and so I would be able to see it, no problem. But if you are using the red rubber or something, you always want to stamp first, okay? But that doesn't so much matter for us right now. Okay, so now we have these 2 pieces. I've already folded a white card base. This is just a standard white card base. I'm going to bring in my Cajun Craze. This is 4 inches by 4 1/4. So this one you could probably just take out of an 8.5 by 11 and be fine with that. This is just glued straight on there, and we'll do that in a few minutes. Like I said, that's probably drying a little bit, so I want that piece there. And now I'm going to use 2 different trims, and this is kind of interesting. I don't know if you can see all this here, but there's this stuff here. It looks like netting, okay, and it is copper metallic, shiny. It may be kind of tough for you guys, but in person, let me tell you, it is the bomb. It is the bomb. And then I have some gold sequins here too, just to pull in some of the golds. So I'm gonna show you how I did both of those. That netting is really this. This is just our copper trim. It looks like ribbon, and it ties like a bow and makes beautiful ribbon, and it's got a really nice sheen to it. But what I did here is I took about 8 inches. So here's 8 inches here, and I cut it off like that. And then I just pulled it apart with my inky fingers like this. I just stretched it out. So, and you just work your way down. It's not hard. It's not giving me any pressure to not pull it apart. It's not stressful or strenuous. You don't have to be super muscular here to do this. You're just pulling it apart. Even with my crazy finger stuff that's going on, I can still do this. I think I told you about my finger stuff. I have a hard time with punches and stuff. All of a sudden, my body is betraying the crafter in me. What are you going to do? All right, so anyway, I'm stretching this stuff out. If you get to a place and you say, oh, I don't like how that looked, you just pull it and start again, stretching it out. Okay, so you can keep kind of molding it because it really is like super thin chainmail. Okay, but look isn't that almost like a leaf? It's beautiful. All right, so we're going to spread the rest of this out. The reason that I took 8 inches to do this, because really it's not that big, right? This piece is really not that big. It really shrunk down to about 3 inches, is because when you pull it out, it stretches it out, and I want it to come out from underneath that, just so you can see it. Okay, so we've got this thing ready, this piece of copper netting. And I am also using the little baby sequin trim, which I'm pretty sure is not its real name. I just made a U over my hand like this, and I was not careful about how I measured it, as you can see. And I will list the real, that's this right here, this little baby trim. The other trim that we have, the other sequin trim, is significantly bigger. Okay, and I just wanted a little touch of gold in there. So now, to get all this stuff piled on here, here's what I'm going to do. Let's go ahead and glue this down. Note to self here, this speckle may still be wet. So if you're doing this, your speckle may still be wet. So if you're going to make the whole bunch, like we talked about, how you're going to make a whole bunch for hostess gifts for this Christmas. Well, that was too much. Then do all of them. Do all the stamping, and then do all the speckling, and then make all these parts and do this other stuff while you're hanging out waiting for this other thing to dry. And by the time you get back to it, it will be dry. Okay, remember, these were not square. So if I tried to put this on the other way, I would not have had a frame. I really want like a picture frame on it. Okay, so there's my picture frame. Now I want this to be down here so that I can put my sentiment on it. So in order to do that, I just took a little bit of my Snail here, my Snail adhesive, and just ran a little strip like that, and then just stuck it down. It's just really holding it in place for me for a second while I go to put this on here. And now I just made the little U with my hand here and stuck it underneath there. Okay, flipped it over and then grabbed some dimensionals. We'll see if I have any whole ones here. I've been playing, so you know how that goes, folks. You start playing and you slice them up. Okay, oh, those are the babies. All right, here we go. Here are some whole ones. A whole sheet of whole ones. That also never happens. Okay, and I'm going to use the dimensionals to kind of help me hold this gold trim against my piece. So it's going to do twofold. It's actually sticking the gold to my piece, but now it's going to stick my whole sentiment on there. So I'm going to flip those off like so. Stick that down like that. And now I can just glue this to my card. And it's not dimensional or anything like that. I don't even know if that's a verb. I'm thinking it's probably not. It is not popped up at all. It is just down. And a lot of people ask me, how much glue do you need to use? Pretty much anything I have. That will be fine. And I'm going to kind of center that with my eyeballs. All right, there you go. I've got 2 for my stack. These will be great. These will be great teacher gifts. I can stack them up because, you know, they always need thank you cards. Teachers always need thank you cards, and they don't need apples all the time. So just so you know. All right, so there you go. There's the card. I will list all the stuff that I've used here. If you would like to place an order and order some of these things, I know that this copper trim is low inventory right now, so you do want to get in on that. And I appreciate your business. I will put my website here, and I will look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you.